Okay, so I've managed to really improve the turning of this Cube4You cubic 3x3x4. These puzzles are notorious for turning really badly, and this was turning quite badly in the package video that I made. After making the package video, the more I used the puzzle, the more I scrambled and solved it, the worse the turning got. I think it was because the pieces were grinding against each other and it was creating plastic dust inside, and the plastic dust inside was making it turn worse. I think that's what was happening anyway. Here's a video of just how bad the turning actually got on this. Since making the unboxing video of this puzzle, the turning of it has got way worse. The more I use it, the worse the turning seems to get. Like these thin layers, remember in the video I used to be able to finger trick them and they weren't that stiff. Now it's like they're really stiff. Sometimes they won't even move at all if I try to move them with my finger. And I'm kind of worried about these, you know, the stalks on these corner pieces breaking. So now, when I want to move these thin layers, I'll just have to use my whole hand. And even then, it still feels really stiff, and sometimes they'll catch and the corners will want to pop and stuff. And yeah, this middle layer, it's really squeaky. And you can see, look, it's just wanting to pop. And like these layers, when I turn it this way, this is where the cube seems to be the worst. It just has a really hard time with turning. You can see, look, it's just like loads of the pieces are just wanting to pop. Look at that. I mean, the way it is now, it's like I just don't want to solve it because it's just too much hassle trying to turn the layers. You know, it's no fun at all. It just feels like a chore when I'm solving it, and when I'm in the middle of an algorithm, because like layers will get stuck, I'll just end up forgetting the algorithm and I'll end up messing up. So yeah, if I do manage to improve the turning of this cube, I will make another update video. So after making that video, I did a couple of things to this puzzle which have really improved the turning, and now I'd say that the turning is so great that you could actually class it as a speed cube. These layers around the equator, they don't turn quite as good as these layers. They do feel a little bit more stiffer. If you try and finger trick them, sometimes, you know, they'll get stuck. But they still turn way better than how they were turning, and if you turn them with your whole hand, it's very rare that they'll get stuck. In fact, I should be able to turn them with just one finger, like that. And of course you can turn these layers as well with just one finger. Let's get it aligned. Just turns really quickly and smoothly now. So basically what I did with this puzzle was I thought, okay, what I'll do is I'll use the puzzle a lot to grind the plastic down, and then I'll get rid of the plastic dust, and then it should turn a lot better. So I used the puzzle a lot, and then I opened it up, I took out all the pieces, and I used a little paintbrush and brushed the plastic dust off them. I put it back together again, and the turning had improved a little bit, but only a little. It still turned really badly. And I thought, okay, what is it about this cube that is making it turn so bad? Because, you know, I was thinking maybe it's because these thin layers are not compatible with these fatter layers. But then the Cube4You 3x3x5 is made up of fat and thin layers, and most of those puzzles turn pretty good. So I picked up my Cube4You cuboid 3x3x4 and I looked inside the puzzle, I looked inside this puzzle, and internally they're both exactly the same. And this, this cuboid Cube4You 3x3x4 moves really great. So I was thinking, what on earth could be causing this to move so badly then? Because they're both pretty much exactly the same puzzles, except, this top and bottom layer, these top and bottom layers are really thin. And with the 3x3x5, which is made up of thin and fat layers, that moves okay. So what could it actually be? So I thought, I wonder what would happen if I was to take this top layer off and this top layer off and swap them around. If I put this thin layer onto this puzzle, would that then make this puzzle turn really badly? So that's what I did. I basically swapped these top layers around. So I basically ended up with this. As you can see, both of the top layers have been swapped around. So I turned the top layer on this, and I thought, okay, well, it's moving, this thin layer, it's moving really well now. When it was on this puzzle, it was moving really badly, as was all of the layers. So I thought, obviously, the thin layer interacting with these thicker layers can't be what's causing this cube to turn badly, because this one, it turns fine. All the layers turn fine. So I decided to see what this layer would be like when turning it on this puzzle, and that moved fine as well. And I thought, okay, that's kind of weird. And what I ended up doing was, I can't remember what my thinking was for doing this, but I basically ended up scrambling. Now this, obviously, after doing that, let's get it back. Obviously, after swapping these top layers around, the rest of the layers on this cube still turned badly. When I turned it this way, I'm not sure if that was improved, because obviously when you turn it this way, around the equator part of the layer is made up of these fatter pieces. I'm not sure if that had improved, but these layers were still bad. So for some reason I decided to mix it up, and I guess the thinking was, let's see what happens. Let's see if mixing it up will improve both of these top and bottom layers. So that's what I did, and I did the same on this puzzle as well. And yeah, after mixing up the layers, both the top and bottom layers, even though, because it's mixed up, they're now partly made up of the thin pieces, they turned really great. So what I did was I solved it. I swapped the layers back over with each other again. So this cube basically had both the thin layers back in place, and they still continue to turn great. And I thought, okay, that's really weird. Why would mixing up some of the pieces from this cube in this puzzle, scrambling the puzzle, solving it, and then taking the pieces back out and putting the original pieces back into it, why would that really improve the turning of both these thin layers? So obviously turning it in the middle, it was still really stiff. I think, like I said before, I think turning it this way as well around the equator, it was still bad. So what I decided to do was I didn't swap the internal pieces over, it was just these, the actual cubies. I basically swapped the cubies from these two middle layers with the cubies from these two middle layers. I swapped them over, and this puzzle then turned really great. This puzzle was still turning great. I mixed them both up, solved them both, took these pieces, all of these pieces from these two middle layers, which were in these two middle layers, I took them out, and I put the original pieces back into it again, and what do you know? It still continued to turn really great. So basically every single layer of this puzzle turned great after doing that. I've got no idea how you know, swapping pieces over with this puzzle, scrambling the puzzle, solving it, putting the original pieces back into it, I've got no idea how that has greatly improved the turning, but it has done. I'd say it turns so well now that you could probably class it as a speed cube. So yeah, pretty strange really. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to lubricate this puzzle and see if I can get the turning to be even better. So I've now lubricated the puzzle. I've used dry silicone lube, and I think maybe it's improved the puzzle a tiny bit, I'm not really sure. Some puzzles do respond really well to the lube that I use, other puzzles don't respond so well to it. So yeah, if you've got a Cube4You cubic 3x3x4 which turns really badly and you want to improve it, then just swap some of the pieces with some of the pieces from a Cube4You cuboid 3x3x4, scramble the puzzle, solve it, take the pieces out, put the original pieces back in, and that should greatly improve the turning. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching.